It's Monday night, it's 7:30, and of course this is the Tilton Talk Show coming to you live across the airwaves of Zoom, sponsored by Boyle Sports, the principal sponsors of Birmingham City Football Club, and of course in conjunction with our good friends at Garrison Coffee Company, SAS Autos, the Bournemouth Labour Club, and Blues Trust, and of course our good friends at Accessi Blues too. Okay, so no win for Birmingham City this weekend, a 4-0 drubbing, played a few of the youngsters, give them a run out, I don't mind, it was good to see. And we've got one more game to go and we can relax. We can relax, ladies and gentlemen. It's all down to Derby County, and it's so much fun up here right this moment in time. There's a few glum faces walking around the streets of Utah, but hey, it's not us, so we don't care. Introducing tonight, the one and only Mrs. Brown.
Good evening.
And the one and only Mr. Robe.
Hello, everybody. Hope you're all okay.
And Mr. Sheen.
Good evening, all.
On our fan cam, two guests from West Midlands Police, Stuart and Colin.
Woo-hoo-hoo.
Evening, all.
Who are you?
Good yourself.
And our star guest tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is the one and only Mr. Martin Taylor.
Hi everyone, thank you.
Who are you? Who are you? I've lost my
How are you, Martin? All right?
Heard that a few times.
There you go.
Okay, what are you doing with your life now, Martin?
I do, nice and interesting, do IT. So I do computer coding and IT. So totally away from football now. So sat behind the desk, and but I enjoy it. So that's the main thing.
May not be totally away from football if you're developing FIFA and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I should do that. That's what I should move into, a bit of data on FIFA. But no, so that's what I'm doing at the moment.
Great for you to give your time up. We're very, very thankful, Martin. I'm sure lots of people have got lots of questions for you tonight. Chris Brown, can you please keep your eye on the comments?
I certainly will.
Only got one phone. Might have another one shortly. Can I have that message, please, in a minute? And right, events over the weekend. Blues losing 4-0 to Cardiff. No great shame. As I say, played a lot of youngsters. It was good to see them getting a bit of a run out. And we pick ourselves up and we'll go again. You know, we've got nothing to worry about now. We're in the Championship next year. And nice to see a few fans turning up, and Lee Bowyer coming out and have a word with the guys outside. Obviously, we didn't repeat the scenes at Manchester, and we don't want to. That's not what we're about. We have an open letter into the club. We'll give you all the details about that very shortly. And 4-0. Paul, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it was a bit. If I'm honest, it was a bit like an academic game, wasn't it? Really, an exhibition game. Obviously, you don't want to see. You don't want to see us lose 4-0, obviously, but I think we were undone by the brilliance of Harry Wilson. If I'm honest, I thought he was outstanding. I mean, all three goals he scored were just. I mean, it was a slight mistake by Roberts, obviously, with the pass, but even so, he had a lot to do from there. It was some finish, and his other two goals were just out of this world. So, especially the third one he scored, that free kick was out of this world. So, I think now in the last game, he'll probably go back to full strength for the last game, and hopefully we can, end the season on a bit more of a high at Blackburn, but we'll see. It's just nice to, like you say, relax and not have to worry about, going into final day dramas this season for a change.
So it's down to Sheffield, Rotherham, who have kicked off currently 0-0 in that game with Luton, and of course Derby County won. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? And it's nice.
Loving that, aren't you?
Do you know what? I love Derby as an away day, but just to walk around the pub with my Birmingham City shirt on and just stand there and go, chest puffed out.
Brilliant.
Okay, dependent on the result, I might even be able to get a Derby fan on next week if anybody's interested.
Oh, please do.
Just to see the gloom and the doom. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there is a challenge going on.
What?
Icefoot 92, if you've not heard of it. Icefoot 92. The challenge has been set by former professional footballer Len John Rose. Len was diagnosed with MND, which is motor neurone disease, in March 2017 and is now confined to a wheelchair. During his career, he had stints with Burnley, Swansea, Blackburn, Bury, Preston, North End and Hartlepool United. Please join in and spread the word to find a cure for this awful, debilitating disease. I know Auntie Linda's doing a lot of work on this one, as her brother-in-law passed away from it not so long ago. Meet Les. Les loved life. He loved his family. There was never a dull moment with his zaniness and his dad jokes, colourful character with his flamboyant dress sense. Unfortunately, January 2020, he was diagnosed with motor neurone disease which sadly robbed him of his life just 3 months after diagnosis. He died 22nd of April 2020, aged just 54. MND awareness in memory of Les. Now, what the challenge is, ladies and gentlemen, you've got to get a bucket full of ice and dunk your feet in it for 92 seconds. I should be doing that later on the show. Chris, you'll be timing me, right? 92 seconds. That's 1.5 minutes plus 2 seconds of pure ice on the feet. On the feet, girls and boys. This is not just chucking a bucket of water on your head. You've got to leave them dunked in there for 92 seconds. Really good to see Sally doing it last week, and she cracked on. She carried on afterwards. So we got to the 92 seconds, and she lifted a beer up and carried on. So let's see if I can at least match that tonight. Our guys from the West Midlands Police, then, your thoughts on the events over the weekend in a certain town north of here?
I think it's one of those. Everybody's entitled to protest, aren't they? And we've seen it not just football recently. We've seen other events as well, haven't you, all around the country. However, sadly, it seems to be that it always goes maybe a little bit too far for people, doesn't it?
Not maybe far. That was wanton destruction. It was filthy hooliganism. And there was one of your guys up there going to work with his family and his children to support them. And he comes away. I saw that gash on his face this morning on the TV, and I was disgusted through to the core that a guy goes to work to have a bottle thrown at him. I've worked in the music DJing industry and in pubs all my life. I know what it's all about, yeah. And I know how things can get heated and this, that, and the other, and especially football, it's very emotive. But to pick a bottle up and throw it at somebody, you're a vile individual. I hope you are caught, and I hope you get the justice that is going to be meted out to you. And I tell you what, then multiply it by 10 and then give him hard labour as well.
I think he has, hasn't he? I think the police have kind of got someone now, haven't they? But I agree with you, because I think that they shouldn't. I know obviously the players weren't on the pitch, but I think fans should never be allowed on the pitch ever, just for safety reasons.
Every single one of them, Martin. Every single one of them, a standard £400 fine for going on the pitch. Every single one of them done for breaking and entering. Yeah. Every single one of them done for riotous behaviour, or I don't know what all of this, that's and the others of it. Players who are going to play a game of football hold up in their hotel.
Yeah.
You know what, man? This is ridiculous.
I played a game in Sheffield Wednesday against Leeds once, and the Wednesday keeper, Chris Kirkland, was obviously standing his goal, and a Leeds fan ran on the pitch and just cracked him in the head and knocked him down.
Oh yeah, I remember watching that. Yeah.
The point being that he said, I mean, he was 34 at the time. He went, I've played my whole career and I've had abuse shouted at us and everything from behind the goal, but I know nobody will come on the pitch, and now I don't know that, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So that's why, and obviously
again, guys, look, I'm all for a peaceful protest, right? We've got an open letter which we put into Birmingham City Football Club along with help me out, Paul.
Yeah.
What's that?
The group?
Blues Trust, is it?
Blues Trust, right. And we put an open letter in and got people to sign a petition. Now, that open letter's really got to be answered, to be fair. And the fact that people are signing a petition means that we're taking our time and effort to join in, right? Now, as I say, there were a few lads and lasses that turned up at St Andrews on Saturday. Thankfully, nothing of that kind of ilk went on. And quite frankly, if you've got that in your mind, forget it and don't bother turning up, because that is not what this is about. This was about the Super League malarkey and all the glazes and one thing and another. And now the football authorities, because it's Manchester United, are going to do something about the ownership situation, and we've been calling out for it for 10 years.
Just going back to the protests at Man United, I'm not saying it's right, but there were a lot of protesters outside that had no idea what was going on inside the ground or the violence. No. In fact, the majority, there were thousands that went there for a peaceful protest. Yeah, that's right. I know, yeah. But the majority of them were there for a peaceful protest.
And that's always the case, isn't it, gents? You always get, let's say, 95, 96% who will go for a peaceful protest.
Yeah.
I mean, something does happen, they all back away. But sadly, you always get a minority. And you said, I'm not just on about the demonstration of protests the weekend. There were events in Bristol and things like that in London recently, nothing to do with football. But you always get that minority, sadly, intent on disorder at these events. As the night goes on, sadly, that's what always happens with these. But like you say, Nick, that police officer's going to be scarred for life, isn't he, from that bottle?
Every time, if he's got little children, every time his kids look at his face, they're going to see a star forever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like a little scratch, was it? It was a proper deep one. And the guy was still had the sense of mind to smile to the cameras.
He's lucky he hadn't lost his eye, really.
Well, all his life.
Very lucky.
What if that had hit him on the temple? We're talking just a couple of inches here, aren't we? What if it had whacked him on the temple? It had gone down, smashed his head on the floor or something? Because you don't know. And that's why I've always told my kids never to fight. Don't ever fight, whatever you do. It's not worth it. You bounce somebody, they go down onto the curb, mate, and die, you're in prison.
Yeah, you're like over, yeah.
It's as simple as that.
Going back to the ones who are inside the stadium, I do genuinely think it was, for a lot of them, it was their first time at Old Trafford. They just saw it as a big laugh. They're not football people.
There's a worldwide pandemic going on. What are you doing even doing that?
There is thousands of Man United fans that have never been to Old Trafford, though.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like I said earlier, Paul, you said it before, it's coming up from London, Wales, the Midlands, or Glory Hunters.
Yeah.
A lot of them were so young. I mean, the little kid who was hanging off the crossbar, or Coventry, But the one little kid hanging off the crossbar, he had a big grin on his face. He probably didn't have a clue what he was doing there.
No.
I don't think a lot.
It'll be interesting to see what punishment they get anyway.
I think it's also interesting what will happen. What will happen for the rest of the season now at some of these other grounds as well? Will there be a knock-on effect? Because I think, let's be honest, it all started over the Super League plans, didn't it? But then that's clearly moved on. Man United was more about the owners and the Super League. And then they say, what have we got left? We've got about 3 weeks left in the Premiership or something like that. It'll just be interesting to see. And I hope there's not a knock-on effect now for the rest of those Premier League games this season.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
well,
so anyway, Martin, let's
we
take
shouldn't
it
be
back
talking
to the
about
start.
it anyway. But,
Let's
and the girls that turned up at St Andrews didn't make a big fuss. Lee came out and spoke to them, one thing and another. So, we did it the right way around. And I know we've had a reputation in the past, but, credit to all the people. Can't condone it because, again, we're still in a national pandemic. But, credit to the people that went there and did a peaceful protest. Right, Paul, over to you.
Paul.
Absolutely. Sorry, Nick. Sorry about that. I was just going to say, Martin, let's take it back to 2003. Then you was at Blackburn. And how did the move to us come about then? Because I said to you before we came online, didn't I remember buzzing when we signed you? Because you was like you played a big part in me winning a couple of £100 like on Dream Team the season before. You was one of the top scoring defenders in Dream Team, in Sun Dream Team, when you was at Blackburn. How did it come about?
I just heard David Dunn had moved the season before, and he was just telling us he was having a great time at Birmingham, really enjoying it. Damien Johnson was there as well. And I'd started the season at Blackburn. I had a good season the year before, and they brought Amoruso in, and Souness was really keen on playing Amoruso. He was trying to change a few things round, and then I'm trying to think now. I think they wanted to sign John Stead from Huddersfield at the time. They needed a forward and he needed a bit of money. And I think when Birmingham came in with the offer, he was happy for us to go. So I still had a contract at Blackburn. I was happy to move to Birmingham because I'd heard good things about it. But it was just a case of everything kind of lined up and sported Brucey and everything sounded good. So, I just went for it.
Yeah. Fair play. Did you score on your debut was it Everton at home? Off your back?
I think it was one of my better ones. It hit my backside on the line. I think Kel Forsell shot and it hit me arse and went in. And
they all count.
I'll say that one.
What a way to score on your debut.
I know.
Yeah.
I've got to give you a warning now, Martin, though. If you do say the V word, it's a tenner towards our charities.
Oh, right. Okay. No
Sorry. Did you ever appear in a local derby?
In the derby? Yeah. I did. I'm trying to think 2 or 3. I think I might have lost all of them, unfortunately. I think we got beat 3-1 in Villa when Cahill scored.
10 quid. 10 quid.
I'll get that one. And then, one at home as well against that lot.
Yeah.
That was like the yes/no game.
I feel straight away as well, didn't I?
It was unfortunate you told us where you live as well. Never mind.
I know. Yeah.
What a second, 14.26 seconds.
It's like the yes/no game, isn't it?
Yeah.
What was it like being on the pitch at a local derby then? The atmosphere beforehand and what have you?
Yeah, really good. I mean, they're always just something else. That's why they tend to be fairly rubbish games, because it doesn't matter where you're from, the build up during the week and you just feel it. As soon as you get the ground, it's like an electricity that kind of comes out of it. So I played, I was fortunate to play quite a few actually, and some of them, like unusually, I played obviously the Villa Birmingham one, which
That's what
It's going to cost you a few quid, mate.
But yeah, that one's big. I played Burnley Blackburn, which was different, but it was a massive game for different reasons. But that one was just crazy as well. So yeah, it was good playing. Yeah.
And who would you say you was in many squads with us, weren't you, over the 6 years you was with us? Who would you say was the funniest character amongst the
Ian Bennett? Easy. He was brilliant.
Everybody says that.
He started. To be fair, anyone who can do any sort of impressions of anyone's brilliant. But I'm sure people have said before, but he used to do the referee's whistle, which sounds basic, but he was so you can like do a whistle with his lips, and it sounded like the referee's whistle, but down to a T. In training, everyone just used to stop because it was brilliant. But no, he was good. He was always a laugh. He used to be in my golfing group because we were all for the golf, so we were like the last group going round, and I'd be with him, and he was it would always be a good laugh.
And who would you say was the most? I won't say miserable, but who was the quietest? Would you say who was the most sort of
aloof? Yeah.
See, this is all a tough one because there's some people who just aren't particularly, so they're not loud in the group. They won't be loud in the dressing room. Lads are sitting having dinner. So someone like Julian Gray, for example, very quiet. He wouldn't be that loud, but one-on-one with him, he was really good to chat to, good sense of humour. So it's always, you cannot really say because everyone's different, but yeah, there's some characters that are really big. I mean, trying to be in the dressing room with like the likes of Sav and Benno and trying to get a word in for some lads is impossible. But there was some that are a wee bit quieter as well.
Yeah. And is there any good pranks you can tell us about? Any good funny stories or any jokes you can remember anyone played on each other?
There's probably a few pranks. I'm trying to think of the pre-season one. There might have been one with Dunny in pre-season with someone, but I don't know if I want to get into that. But there was with Stav, I think there was the one, it's probably been said before, where he was broken down in his Lambo on the side of the M42 and Benno's gone past and give his horn, and absolutely everyone's just, I think he's stopped and pulled him and everyone's just banging the horn at him because he's pulled over in his Lambo, broken down on the edge of the M42. So that was always a good one. I'm trying to think of any of us pranks or anything like that. No, if I think of any, I'll let you know.
Yeah, no worries.
Was it, Martin, was it a different atmosphere to the dressing room you had at Blackburn?
Yeah, they're all different dressing rooms. To be fair, when I moved to Birmingham, there was probably more of an English base. Most of the squad would have been English. So obviously, there was a few players in there. But when I was at Blackburn, especially with Souness in charge, he brought in players from all over the world, really. I mean, you had 2 or 3 Turkish lads, a couple of Italians, a couple of Spanish and stuff like that. And sometimes there was, you do get the clicks. There was no problems. You just get the clicks of the language. So the kind of the francophones still stick together and stuff like that. So when I came to Birmingham, there was definitely a bit more of a togetherness. I got in a good group of friends, and I still speak to a lot of them now. So it was a good club to come to, definitely.
Yeah. And how would you? Sorry, Mark.
Sorry, Paul. I was going to just ask Martin the contrast with characters between Bruce and Souness. I mean, did Souness have a lighter side to him?
He did, yeah. No, Souness he's very personable, which kind of, I mean, when you watch on Sky, comes across. He's got a stern look, but I think Roy Keane beats him at that anyway, so he's all right there. But he was. I'm trying to think how to describe it. Yeah, he had a temper, but managers do. He was quite considered, really. He could fall out with people. That was his kind of his big thing. Sometimes he would fall out with players a little bit too much, but on the whole, everyone kind of got on with him quite well. He's different as a manager as people perceive him to be. So he was. I got on with him really well. I actually quite liked him, and he's a good sense of humour as well. To be fair.
And who was the best player you played with? Sorry, who was the best player you played with at Blues?
At Blues, I'm trying to think. So. I think, like it was mentioned just earlier, I think sometimes there's players who have got loads of ability, and then there's players who have a huge amount of impact. I think that someone like Emil Heskey was a fantastic player. He obviously played at the top at Liverpool. He won massive trophies. He played for England lots of times. And when he came to Birmingham, he still had a lot to give. He was by no means past his best. And what he gave to the team was outstanding. He was so strong. His work rate for the team was incredible. His lack of goals, often people said he needs to be scoring more goals, centre forward. But when he was in the team, it made a difference every single time. So players like that. And then I think someone like Seb Larsson was fantastic when he came. I think his ability and work rate, he brought so much to the team as well. So yeah, like you say, there's different people. Some players bring a lot to the team without really standing out.
Nick,
yeah, no, absolutely.
Nick, you was going to say something?
Yeah, just looking back to our friends at West Midlands Police. What kind of preparations do you make for police in a match at the moment? I mean, do you expect anybody to erroneously turn up, or have you got preps in place for that? And looking at what's happened over the weekend, are you going to put any extra measures in? Come the new season, I know we're playing away on the last game, so it's not really going to be a massive issue. And when do you start prepping there for next season?
I think really next season, it's hard at the moment, isn't it? I think we all like to think we're back to 100% capacity, won't we? But I think it's still too early to know whether that will take place, whether we're looking at perhaps 50% capacity to start with and building up. It's really difficult. Normally, we'd start planning as soon as sort of the playoffs, relegation, promotion are all sorted. But if you look at the table now, let's be honest, we're not going to be in the playoffs. Albion are going to be relegated probably this weekend coming. Wolves and Villa are sort of safe where they are. So really the planning would start. Obviously then the fixtures would normally come out mid-June. Yeah. And then we'd be really in full swing. But I say until we're still in presidency times, aren't we? It's really hard to know. It's different policing perhaps 8,000 at a ground due to social distancing and various restrictions than it is to policing 40,000, something like that. And I say policing at the moment, we've literally put 2-3 officers on games recently, that's all. And that's probably more, one, to support the club, because if you drive past these clubs at the moment, you'd hardly know there was a game going on. You drove past Blues, even when Blues are playing, probably even more when Coventry are playing at Blues at the moment, you genuinely wouldn't know there's a game taking place. But you've still got to think, we're in this day and age still, terrorism, that type of thing. They are sites where potentially, somebody can think, you know what, a potential terrorism site. So that's why we still put police officers on it. One for that, one to support the stewarding and the club. And if you think the stewarding numbers, Blues used to put sort of 250, 300 stewards on a game with fans. Yeah. They're down to 40 or 50. So again, that's a lot of eyes and ears which are missing, if that makes sense. And there's a lot of gates to cover. There's a lot of area to cover. So that's all we've been doing, 2 or 3 officers on every game, which we've done from ourselves from the officer in the football unit. For the rest of the season, obviously, we've got Man United coming to the Midlands very soon. Yeah. And those will be discussions.
Who are they playing?
I don't know. I haven't got that sort of money. I'm not well enough paid. But those are decisions. You've got to remember, these are what we would class as police-free games at the moment, really, with no fans inside. So that's a discussion for safety officers to have with sort of West Midlands Police in relation to what sort of level of policing they want. It's back to the process, isn't it? We've seen fans turn up at Leeds recently. Man United bolstered issues on Saturday as well, didn't they? I'm sure those have been seen over the weekend as well. But I say, we're not talking huge amount of police resources whatsoever. It's just enough, and knowing that if something does happen, there's enough reserve elsewhere, we can bring them in. Okay. But I think it's unusual, as in, if you think everything's decided in the West Midlands already, which is near enough unheard of, isn't it? 2-3 weeks. But for us, with a week to go, we've normally got something to play for. And normally you're looking at a playoff somewhere with a West Midlands team, which we're just not going to get, are we? But we have been busy. Stu, especially in his new role, there has been literally non-stop in the couple of months he's been here with the hate crime, the online abuse of players.
Yeah, we'll go into that.
Yeah, Stu's the expert and all that. But even though there's been no football, as Stu will say, it's been absolutely non-stop with stuff going on.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yes. Yeah. We'll talk about that later.
You mentioned the hate crime in there, and online crime, it's just vile, isn't it? Online bullying and racism is just vile. Now, there isn't anybody else, I don't think, in this town better than me at comedy and taking the rip and one thing or another. I'd never intentionally, I just wouldn't, because I always try and read everything 2 or 3 times before I post it or say anything. And I don't get it. I just don't get, you're writing it down. It's got your name against it. You're liable for what you write nowadays. And I just don't, I can't get my head round why people want to do it or why they do it. No. Is it youth and exuberance? Is it hatred? I don't know. What do you reckon,
Nick? I mean, we thought this had gone away in our time, didn't we? But it's never gone away, has it?
It had, Chris, to a certain degree. Now, look, me and you can remember the likes of Cyril Regis coming to St Andrews and the dogs that he took then.
Yeah.
And looking back, that was just vile. It was vile.
Yeah.
And the bloke didn't deserve it. He's again, just like that police officer in Manchester. He's just going to work at the end of the day. And that's it. They're just doing the job. Now, I can tell you, right, any player of any colour, any ethnicity, any gender, I don't really care. If you put a Birmingham City shirt on, I will love you for the rest of my life. That's it. End of.
I think there's so much more the social media companies themselves could do or should do.
Why shouldn't? Or when you should be responsible for your own actions.
Yeah, that's society in general, isn't it? I think I've spoke about it quite openly. This isn't just a football issue. This is an issue across society.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, society don't like to take responsibility for their actions. Social media is the classic because you can hide behind that screen, can't you? Behind that keyboard.
I was in the pub working one night, a year or so ago, maybe 18 months ago, and there was a gentleman in there of the 70-ish bracket, and he was going on about certain races and religions and this, that, and the other, putting them down, and I said to him, stop. He said, what? I said, okay, you walk down the steps out of this pub, turn left to go and get a packet of fags, and you keel over and have a heart attack. And the only man that stops to help you is a man from Pakistan who just happens to be a heart surgeon, brings you back to life just so that you can go and see your grandchildren again. Yeah. He's never said anything since. Never said anything since. And, I've got the original Kick It Out shirt here. I've got the one that's not so long ago with, we don't see your colour, we see the person.
I think as Stu briefly mentioned, and I'm sure he'll say a lot more than me about it, is with the inquiries we can do, a lot of these offenders are from many, many thousands of miles away. And literally, it's so easy to get an email address. It's so easy to set up a Twitter and Instagram account, you know what I mean? Yeah. Almost. Well, you can use false details. There is no comeback.
Yeah.
But I say some of the stuff Stu's been looking at, we've had offenders in Russia, for example. Well, clearly, they've got away with it. If you want to make safe better, there's nothing we can do about that.
No.
And clearly, the Russian authorities aren't going to take any interest in it.
And that's why social media companies do have to do a lot. More.
Yeah, I get that. I really do. I understand that. Yeah.
What can the social media companies do? Like from the anonymity part of it, are they planning to do things when you've spoke to them or anything like that?
Well, it's like a football club, isn't it? They can't control everybody's mouth.
Yeah.
No. I think there's an argument there for people to verify that there is a strong argument there, and I think your genuine supports, because let's be honest, social media it is a good interaction tool for anyone on there to get their point, their view across. And I think if you're getting people who are signing up to verify, you're going to get the majority of genuine people who want to engage with people for the right reasons. And I'd like to think you'd weed out a lot of these individuals who are remaining anonymous, who want to send this abuse. They want to be racist online. They want to send emojis to certain players because they think it's funny. But I think that would be a good option to look at. Whether it happens or not, I don't know, because you're talking at obviously a lot higher level than myself. You're talking government level to start forcing those changes. But something has to change, and it has to change quickly.
Do you think this social media blackout of the weekend has done any good whatsoever?
No. It's raised awareness, and it's not. It's obviously players are taking the knee, aren't they? Players are wearing the no room for racism. This is just very similar. You know, players are boycotted.
Just forget it. Just forget it. I've got
There needs to be action.
We were at Chinese. I don't care. And I don't think the majority of Birmingham City fans care either, to be frank with you. And, you know, like Ronnie, one of our disabled supporters, and I'll stand with him. I'll stand with him every week. He's lovely. I love Ronnie. He's a great bloke. I can't wait to see him again. Give him a hug.
Yeah.
I think the other thing will be interesting.
I'm allowed to say that, aren't I? Ronnie's a black man and he's lovely. Huh?
Yeah,
but he's a human.
Nick, the other thing
he's a human.
Yeah.
End of.
And that's what it's about. That's, you know, regardless of the colour, your background, whatever it may be, if you've got a disability, you get on with that person for who that person is.
I'm eager to see how social media is going to police it. Because isn't it a case of after the horse is bolted? I mean, once somebody said something, they can just go offline and come back as somebody else and do the same thing again. It's going to be so difficult.
Yeah. What I've tried to get, obviously I've done a lot of work with players and clubs so far, and trying to get clubs and players to report the abuse that they're having. Obviously at the minute we've not got supporters within the grounds, which has helped in a little bit in terms of my role, because then I've just been able to focus on the players and the clubs. And when they report something to me, and they are reporting more and more now, I'm able to take that information to the social media companies, and they do provide us certain information around IP addresses, which we can do work with. Obviously, if it's someone abroad, it limits what we can do. But someone certainly in this country, and there are investigations that I'm dealing with, that you've got individuals up and down the country, not just in the West Midlands, who we are identifying. That takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. But these people can be identified if they're in the UK, and they need to be. But that relies on the players, clubs, supporters when they're back in the grounds, if they're having issues online, to report it. And obviously we'll investigate it.
I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with some of these court cases we'll have over the next few months. It'll be interesting to see if people are found guilty, what sentences they get. Is it going to be a slap over the wrist, you know, and don't do it again? Or will somebody...
You guys do all the footwork, don't control over that, do you?
No, none whatsoever. It's like anything, the sentencing's out of our hands.
Yeah.
But I think if there's some, you know, severe sentences handed out, but there's obviously limiting on what the offences are and what the sentences are. But, you know, if somebody's going to get a £50 fine for racially abusing somebody online, that's no deterrent whatsoever, is it?
No.
It was better in my day. When the copper behind you, if you heard just bad-mouthing somebody, he'll give you a belt around here, take you round by the scruff of your neck and send you to your father.
And that's obviously when supporters are back at the grounds, any sort of abuse like that aimed at players or towards supporters, that you know, we've got cameras inside the ground, you've got stewards, you've got police, you've got other supporters who are going to challenge it, and that makes my investigations a lot easier to obviously identify someone.
And I've always said it before.
And if I hear it, I promise you, I will video or take a photograph of the individual involved.
That's what we want.
On to you. Call me a snitch if you want, but I'll tell you what, this is football. It's football. It's Birmingham City. It's our club, and I don't hold with anybody abusing anybody else to that degree. Yes, do all your chants and your laughs and all the fun that you have, and you know it's a great crack. And you know if there's somebody there, you know, who's getting a dog's abuse off everybody, that's the crack. That's the joke. But where do you draw that line?
Yeah, exactly. Mark, you was about to say something, Mark.
Yeah, I was going to go back to, if I can ask what Stu said a minute ago. You know, when you said you've spoken to some players about some of the issues. Would you say there's a section of players who are sort of reluctant to come forward? Yeah,
I think so. I think, and I'm not naive enough to know that people don't trust the police for various reasons, and that's not just footballers. That's a lot of people across various different communities, trying to get into players to get them to trust the police to report it and being able to investigate. And in turn, I think if you look at some of the communities, certainly across the West Midlands, if they can see a player from their club reporting something to the police, trusting the police to investigate it, we can get a successful result at court. I'd like to think slowly that would then encourage them to report matters. and so on and so forth.
Right. Shane Goff has just said, can I just say, as somebody from a gypsy background, I've never understood why it's okay to say Jippo at grounds. I've done it. There you are. I've done it. I'm sure everybody else in the studio has done it, and I'm sure the majority of other people have done it. Why it's okay to shout Jippo at the grounds. That's gone. I know it's tongue-in-cheek, but I still cringe a bit when it's shouted. So that word now affects somebody. Never thought about it before. No. I personally never, and golly, those players have just come on and gone, Jippo, and I've never thought that affects somebody. That one small word. And it's...
Is it safe to say that times have changed, Nick?
That's kind of calling his race out, isn't it, really?
Yeah. It's difficult.
Well, I don't envy you, Stuart.
No. I know. And that's where, obviously, there's going to be some work around education and obviously a lot of preventative work, trying to educate people around certain words, certain sayings, how it affects people. I'm hoping over time people will obviously be able to identify what a hate crime is, and as you said, Nick, be able to then challenge it and report it.
Somebody else has just written, what is actually a hate crime? I mean, I've done that. And the young man there has just written in and said, you know what, I cringe when you do that. And I'm thinking to myself, no, eek. I've actually got somebody. I don't want to do that.
And a lot of people I've spoken to are like, a hate crime. Does that mean you hate crime? It doesn't really. The wording doesn't.
No, I know.
The wording's not right.
No. I mean, a hate crime is any criminal offence that is perceived by the victim of that crime or another person, and it to be motivated by hostility or prejudice. And for West Midlands Police, when we work with CPS, we base it on 5 key strands. And the first one is race, religion, disability, gender ID, and sexual orientation. Those are the 5 key strands.
That's interesting.
And if they're used, and in real simple terms, if someone is subject of any crime and they deem it to be motivated by one of those 5 key strands, it will become a hate crime. Obviously, we will then collate the evidence to back up or support the hate crime element of it.
So what if I said to you, we would, have to come and say, "Oh, you big woman," is that a hate crime?
Yeah, if someone perceives it, yeah.
But
it's how you perceive it, yeah.
Whereas
it's how that victim. Now, that's not. I'm not saying that would then go to court as a hate crime offence, because obviously we'd have to look into the evidence, but it would certainly be recorded if that victim perceives it to be based.
And I think the other thing to understand is that the police don't have authority to charge, if that makes sense. Anything hate crime has to go to the Crown Prosecution Service. So everything Stu deals with goes to the Crown Prosecution Service for them to make that decision, which delays the whole process even more. You're talking normally a 28-day turnaround from CPS.
So if you don't do anything, then you're stuck, really, aren't you? You guys are pretty... You can't really do a great deal, can you? In real terms. Martin, what was it like in your day? Did you see any racism back in the 90s and that?
There's always. Everyone knows there's always been a problem, and like you say, everyone thought it was getting better. I think social media's it's a different platform, so I'm quite glad that social media wasn't a big thing until the end of my career. Really, I didn't really go on it. I went on Twitter for a bit. I got a bit of stick. I came off it. That was it. I wasn't that bothered about it at all. I think that I think that there's a lot of work needs to be done. I think nowadays, I think education's a big thing. Like Stu mentioned, I think education's huge. One thing I do know is when they used to come around. So the first thing that people were worried about in the authorities was actually footballers on social media. They came round and said what we could do, what we could say, what was a hate crime. They educated us very early doors of it, because the first things that got in the media was what footballers were saying on it. It's a lot rarer now. I think they're much better educated, and I think that I think for education, the first thing they said to us was the 2 words, social media. I think everyone just assumes it's social. It's what you say to your friends. It's not. It's not just for footballers who are in the limelight. It's anyone. It's media. It's what would you say if the Sun came up and giving you an interview? Would you say that? And they're like, well, surely no, of course I wouldn't. But why'd you do it on social media then? So it's that part of the education. And I think schools do it a lot more now. I think that everyone's more aware. I think in grounds, like you say, you would film someone that's more socially aware. I think everybody's aware of that now. So I think that more people do it and you won't get frowned on for filming someone. So I think things have changed. I think when when fans are back in the stadium, I think it'll be different as well. I think it will have raised awareness, which is the main thing.
And that's where that's obviously what we want to keep raising.
Yeah.
How about, obviously, to drive a car, you need a license, don't you? You need to pass a test. What don't the social medias do something? Companies do something similar to that? Like you need a license to be able to, set up an online account with the likes of Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram.
Yeah, I think when you look at obviously, if you were to apply for a mortgage, you'd have to provide some form of identity to get that mortgage.
Yeah, good show.
And that information's kept safe. It's stored. It's not passed out to people. So I think there's a strong argument there, in my own opinion, for ID, driving license, national insurance numbers, NHS numbers, something that identifies that individual person.
100%.
That's a great shout.
If they do go online and start hurling abuse at someone, we can do a really quick investigation. They can be identified very, very quickly. And I'm pretty certain if people have got to provide ID, they'll be thinking twice about starting to abuse, as I say, not just footballers, but abuse generally on social media, because a lot of these offences wouldn't happen in the street. They wouldn't go up to that person and start racially abusing them.
Like you say, your key here is, would you say it to somebody who's giving you a job interview?
No,
and
they wouldn't.
That's it. When it's you that wants something, you'll be nice as pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. You wouldn't say to that. They wouldn't say to that person's face either.
Yeah.
A really difficult one to broach, this one, guys, and I appreciate what you're saying to us.
Interesting.
And I just don't know. I don't know the answers. If we knew the answers, we'd tell you what the answers were. But we're scratching our heads, I think, as well. To be fair.
Yeah.
I think it's whether it's got worse with no fans. Is it easier to watch on the TV? And I think there was one recently. Literally, this lad had put on Twitter, he racially abused a player, all through the fact that he'd lost a load of money on a bet because he'd missed a chance, whatever. And I think it's come to the forefront probably because there are no fans inside the stadium.
Who put that money on the bet?
Oh, yeah.
Who put the money on the bet? I did, right?
Yeah.
He's willing to lose that money, no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what.
So why did he even think it's all right to then go and racially abuse that footballer? Like you say, if he wouldn't go down to the ground and
lost his money.
Because
he didn't get it. I'll tell you what, he's sponsored by World. I've never gambled in my life.
I think that's the main thing. When footballers talk about social media, that's what they say. They say, when I come out the ground, everyone's nice as pie. Everyone wants my signature. Everyone said, great game. And then they'll go home and read the exact opposite, probably from the same people, which is it's like bewildering, isn't it? There was when I was at Watford, there was a guy, and he used to stand at the top of the tunnel and walk down to the car park with every player that came out the ground, and he used to tell you how bad you were. Everything that you done wrong. It was great, and he used to literally walk down and go, "You were awful today. You did this."
Was it Elton John?
It wasn't Elton. It was refreshing, and everyone used to take it in great heart. And he wasn't annoyed. He just used to say, that goal was all your fault. I'm going to tell Lloyd exactly the same when he comes down now." And it was quite refreshing, and you don't because he's telling you to your face, and he did it in the right manner. I mean, whether you agree with that or not, but it's totally different. It's the anonymity of it. It's sitting behind the keyboard. People don't like it. Nobody ever has. It's secretive. It's a human trait that nobody's ever liked, and it's just manifested in a different way now.
I think, just on the back of that, sorry, I'll just speaking to players. They openly say, playing football, I expect to be criticised about my performance. Something I've done wrong, but I don't expect to be abused because of a different colour or I've got a different background or a certain religion. Yeah. And that's where the line's crossed. I think every footballer, they accept criticism of some form.
Can I just thank that man who was coloured in Burton Hospital who fixed my 2 hernias 5 weeks ago. Can I thank him? I've got to publicly thank him. Yeah, I shook his hand afterwards. Thank you very much, sir.
Really interesting comment coming in here from Alan Watton, who I know as well. I used to sit right behind him at St Andrews in the Cop. He just put, I used the phrase, he wants shooting on Twitter and was banned for 48 hours. I'm a 70-year-old reasonable person. I regret saying it now. Why aren't the real villains dealt with? And that is spot on, and I can vouch for that as well. I sat behind Alan for years in the Cop.
That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. Yeah. But it's,
I mean,
yeah.
Stuff's getting reported to like your Twitters, your Instagrams, and they won't take that post down straight away. I don't know why. They say it's not violating their terms, but someone who puts a comment like that, or a music video that's copyrighted, it gets taken down instantly.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Or a DJ. DJs obviously get clamped down, don't they, for streaming live?
Yeah.
So it can be done. It can be done, and it can be done easily. The technology's there.
Yeah.
We just need to keep banging the drum to the social media companies.
He wants shooting, a 72-hour ban for he wants shooting. You know, and this is where it's going to get sticky, Stuart, in your job, mate, because it's in what context has this been said. Oh, he needs to shot, that guy. And like, it's just like, doesn't mean to say that I've got a pistol under my pillow and I'm actually going to go and shoot him, right?
Yeah.
And are we have we, since the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and now, have we gone too politically correct in everything? Yeah,
it's got to be the way it's got to be the way it's perceived.
Chris didn't get diseases when we was kids. It's because we used to play in the mud.
Yeah, look at us now. We're a picture of health.
Nothing was sanitised. And I tell you what, if a kid had chicken pox, you had to go to their house.
You did, that's right, yeah.
Chicken pox party.
Yeah. Chicken pox parties, remember them?
Do you know, I think the world's gone completely and utterly the wrong way. Lack of discipline in schools, lack of discipline from parents, which I blame myself for because mine are now second generation from then. And when I was dragged up in the 60s, I was dragged up with holes in my shoes. And I've probably still got a pair of my brother's shoes here somewhere, to be fair.
Yeah.
And everything I had was handed down, and there were 3 above me. So you can imagine the state of my clothes when I got hold of them.
Yeah.
Never had nothing new. Right?
They were all girls.
Then we had these affluent times in the 80s where we were earning shed loads of money, giving the kids this, giving them that, buying them computers, taking them to Florida. And they then have got kind of spoiled, and everybody around them saying, you can't do this, you can't do that, clean this, clean that, take away the cane at school, da-da-da-da-da. And now we've just become this society which is like, I don't know.
Broken. It's a broken society.
It's broken, and I don't think it's fixable, Stuart. I don't think it's fixable.
No, probably right. I think we've got too far.
Different generations.
Yeah.
But
I had a little disagreement with one of my daughter's teachers at sports day a couple of summers ago because I was like, she was in a race and she was in second place, and I was like, go on. And I really wanted her to win.
Yeah.
And like the one teacher said to me, it's all about taking part nowadays.
I had that.
And I'm like, I just couldn't disagree with that more. But that's just me. So I was brought up.
I had exactly the same.
And Martin, is it fair to say, Martin, if you haven't got a competitive side in you wouldn't make it as a professional footballer, would you really?
Yeah, I mean, you have to. I mean, all the lads who go into football, any sport, they've probably played other sports in their life as well. They just want to win. That's why every training session, you just come with bumps and bruises because of whether it's a game or training or whatever. But yeah, no, you need that. You need that competitive edge. You need to be able to, whether it's, like you said before, going for a job interview, you need a competitive edge if you want to get ahead. But I don't know. I think it's... everyone's got their own opinion on it, and I think that from the teacher's point of view, they just want to keep everybody happy, and you can kind of understand to a certain extent. But it's for me personally, I want to win. That's it.
I won't even let my wife beat me at FIFA. That's how bad I am.
You mean she does?
In the late 70s, I was in the army. Now, I would like to go back and see what one day's worth of basic. I couldn't jump over the hoops and whatever anymore. I couldn't do it. But I'd like to go back and see what basic training is like now, 2021, compared to what it was like in 1978. Yeah. And when we were told to jump, it was how high. You didn't answer back. You daren't. There was things going on called bee stings. I don't know whether anybody's aware of them, but if somebody smelt, they'd shove them in the bath, pour bleach on them, and rub them down with bass brooms, and all these things went on. Right?
Great.
You know what? The camaraderie was still there afterwards. Yeah. And there was everybody in our billet, right? Because one person's ironing wasn't absolutely perfect. We all had to go out with our own toothbrushes and sweep the parade ground. Could you imagine that nowadays?
No.
Imagine the sergeant. I mean, look, you see all the regiments and that on TV, and I know they're perfect, and there's nobody in the world that can do it like this country does. Nobody. I don't care what you or who you are, but that military precision in this country is absolutely second to none. But I do wonder whether, again, we've gone through the soft approach. Can you imagine this drill sergeant? Attention, please.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah. Paul.
We've had a few, Chris. We've had a few live questions coming in for Martin, if I may. I've kept him in my mind. They've scrolled down now and gone, but one earlier, Martin, was Stephen Gill was asking, what was your favourite game in the blue shirt?
Favourite game? Why? Oh, that's obviously the promotion one's always good. I think Newcastle away in the cup replay, winning 5-1 up at St James's. It's got to be my favourite. I had a few mates in the stand up there, and I think I had for some reason I had a look at the teams the other day. I always had the impression that Newcastle played a bit of a weekend team, but I don't think they did. I think maybe they had one or two out, and we were having a good. I mean, we're obviously only in the Championship at the time. Newcastle doing all right in the Prem. And we were starting to play really well that season, kind of rolling into having a really good stint, which ended up getting us promoted. But yeah, everything came together in that game, and yeah, it was a really good one. So probably that one just for personal reasons.
I've got a couple as well, Paul. Can I?
Go on.
Kevin says I met Martin in town in 2012. He was with Ben Foster and Mike Taylor. I came over for a photo. Such a pleasure to meet them all. And Martin says, can Martin tell us what his feelings were when Wenger spouted off about him being banned for good after you had unfortunately broken Eduardo's leg?
Yeah, I mean, having that said, it was difficult. It was really difficult. So one of the things about that whole situation was obviously it was hard from the start, but it was the fact that you kind of speak to people and they always say, I'll be fine. It'll be like yesterday's news. It'll be obviously I wasn't that used to being any sort of like news. I mean, front page news at one point. I wasn't used to that. I wasn't even used to being on the back page. I was kind of like in a small one line in a column, a few pages in. So I wasn't used to that sort of attention. And people said it'll go away. It'll be the next thing. It's like tomorrow's chip papers and all that. And it didn't, because people kept saying things all the time. So I think obviously Wenger saying that at first, and he was obviously emotional at the time, but it really, really didn't help me, because, I mean, you say about what I was going to mention before about social media, I got letters. The same people who are saying that now, saying the things now, sent me letters back then, and I think Birmingham vetted quite a lot, but I did still get quite a few, and they were as bad as you can imagine. And that's for nobody else to see as well. That's just for me to see. So there are people who are willing to kind of make you feel as bad as they want you to for their gain, not even for anyone to see. But yeah, it was that. It was, I think Sepp Blatter came out and said something. I think the Man U assistant manager, Queiroz, said something, and it just continued and continued. So it was difficult for me, but especially difficult for my family as well. They took it quite hard. I was fortunate to be able to go into football and have a laugh with the lads about it, and they would kind of go, you see what's being said, and have a laugh. My family didn't have that. So, the whole situation was difficult. But yeah, what Wenger said didn't help at all.
I can imagine. Lee says, BBC's...
Social media rights nowadays haven't got to buy a stamp, have they?
That's
true. What, sorry? They don't have to buy stamp. There was actually some that were not just stamped, there were some that were franked from the place of work as well, which was always quite
really. Lee says BBC's Match of the Day did a close-up of my flag I made for Martin in the following match after the Eduardo incident, and Gary Lineker referred to it as the start of the game introduction too. It was also in the Evening Mail and national papers. I was well chuffed that they highlighted our support for him after all the media slating he took for it was totally unwarranted and undeserved. Keep right on, Martin, says Lee.
Brilliant. That's another thing as well. From that day, Birmingham fans have been absolutely fantastic. Every time anyone sees us, they'll always loads of support, had loads of support at the time and ever since. So it's one thing I'm hugely thankful for. And I still live in the area, and it's not obviously one of the reasons, but it is a reason that the people have been always fantastic with us. So yeah, I do have to thank everyone for that.
Don't pick the accent up. Yeah.
I haven't picked the accent up. I'm trying not to pick the accent up. Is that should I be saying that? I don't know.
Well,
I enjoyed the end. I enjoyed the end of that game when we got that last minute penalty and McFadden buried it, and Gallas was kicking the advertisement boards.
Yeah, the boys did really well, because it was about, I think it was only about the 4th minute or something, and Arsenal at that time they were a very good side. So I think that derailed them a little bit, but I think the boys did great for the rest of the game.
Yeah. Even Fabregas called us a rugby team afterwards, didn't they? He said, they're like a rugby team.
But I mean, it's Arsenal have got the better teams. They'll do that. Yeah, they've got the ball more. They'll probably draw more fouls. But it happens there'll be players on either side who commit fouls, and I think it's just you cannot say that as a player, because you don't know what's happen, what you might do the next game. I think it's really difficult.
And who was your club growing up, and who was your football hero as a child, Martin?
Club growing up was Newcastle until probably till the Keegan Revolution, really, and more so because you couldn't get a ticket to go and watch them. So until Keegan
beat on 5-1.
Yes, no, well, that's why. That's what I was.
But that's why you enjoyed it, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I enjoyed it. Yeah, so I still follow Newcastle, but Newcastle when I was growing up. But I always liked Tony Adams as I was defender growing up. I obviously like the flair players. You always look for the fair players, but I think Tony Adams was great to watch. He was so good at what he did. Yeah. His ability to kind of control the back four and kind of just, I used to watch him just like move the team up and down the pitch and think, he's a great player. So Tony Adams.
It'd be worth a hell of a amount today, wouldn't it? When you think, I mean, Maguire's a good player, but 80 million for Maguire. What would Tony Adams be worth now?
Yeah, well, it's when you watch players, centre backs it's a funny breed, and quite often they don't have to be the most athletic. So you've got your Rio Ferdinands, you've got your players who, I mean, Tyrone Mings is like that at the other team. The fantastic athletes, but you can have Harry Maguire. Yeah, he's quick enough, but you look at that, your Tony Adams, your John Terry. John Terry had a fantastic career without any pace really at all. He could control a game with his mouth. He could get everyone to do what he wanted to do, and he obviously had his attributes as a defender as well. So I think it's a huge part of being a defender.
Well, Kenny Cunningham was like that, wasn't he?
Yes, Kenny was.
And Bruce,
yeah.
Right, I'm going to do my 92-second ice challenge in a couple of minutes, guys. Someone's just preparing the cold stuff for me.
Can't wait.
And it's on behalf of motor neurone disease. And what you got to do,
brilliant.
Once you've done your 92 seconds, right, you've got to give Auntie Linda a £5, okay, towards the cause. So it's going to cost you £5, right? But we want them all on video. So it's not about chucking, a quick bucket of ice over your head. This is 92 seconds in freezing ice, okay? So I should be doing that in a couple of minutes' time. Now, in the meantime, going back to our friends at West Midlands Police, do you think the mainstream media have a massive or a bigger part to play in this anti-racism thing? And do you think sometimes they possibly highlight it too much and people get kind of blasé with it? I don't know.
I think from my own point of view, I think the media do highlight it. Obviously, when there's a professional player within the professional game, it's plastered all over the newspapers straight away. And that probably paints a picture that there's a bigger problem within the game that there probably is. I think the issues are, and they're unreported, are your semi-pro games, your grassroots, your kids' football. That's going on, but that's not being reported. So the media, when they're reporting it, they're obviously reporting that your Premier League players, and it appears to be a bigger issue than probably what it is at that level. And your stuff at grassroots is unheard of. It doesn't get reported, and there are bigger problems at that level.
What else can the media do you think? Mainstream media, like the newspapers, the news, radio.
Educate. We talk about education. Work with us and allow us to get that message across around educating people. The media have such a massive reach to people, and you know, talk newspapers. The media do a lot on social media. They can reach all around the world with just their own platforms, and we could use them to get the education message across.
You look at Sky Sports now, like Soccer Saturday or something. You look at the panel now compared to what the panel was 5-10 years ago, and I think Sky Sports have really sort of progressed forward, haven't they? You know, if you look now who's on those panels on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon with the football and everything Sky Sports News are doing, they are really pushing it, aren't they, at the moment? A lot more than some of the other outlets.
I can't be too outspoken on this one because, like, number one, I think taking the knee is just at its day, right? That's at its day. It's done. It's finished, right? Number two, for me, right, you know what? If you're top notch at your job, I'm going to employ you. I couldn't care whether you're black, white, or whatever. It doesn't make any difference to me. But you've got to be the best to be part of my team. End of.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at the newspapers, and you look recently with the Super League, and across all the Sky Sports, BBC, BT, all the pundits, everyone was involved. It had a massive, with 2 or 3 days, the movement it had. You had supporters protesting outside grounds. Yeah. That's the kind of coverage the media can push out to people, the message that they can get across. Now, I'm not saying, like, in terms of hate crime, people should be turning up at grounds and protesting, but the media can get that message out in terms of education. They can really push that out to people and get that across. And it's an important thing to do.
We're educating people as well. We're having a debate, and it's a proper debate, but we're also educating. And I've been educated about that gypsy comment earlier.
Yeah.
Right? You know what? Genuine. I never thought about it. Never thought about it. Right. Anyway, you can probably all see the ice. What I'm going to do with this after my feet have been in it is put it back in some bags and shove it back in the freezer. Can't waste, Paul. You can't waste. All right. Who's timing? Who's going to be the timer? Mrs. Brown?
You turned the camera around and disappeared.
He's probably going to book it. You got a watch on you, Paul?
Yeah, hang on.
Right, 92-second countdown on your watch.
And no swearing there.
No, I won't be saying any bad words whatsoever, I promise you.
Craig Courtney's asked a couple of times, ask Wardy if he's looking forward to the derby next season.
Say that again, sorry, bro.
Oh, Craig Courtney's asked a couple of times if you're looking forward to the derby next season.
Be 6 points for the Albion.
Yeah.
So I'm very looking forward to it.
Paul, 92 seconds, tell me when.
Okay, you got your feet in? All right, okay.
No, there they are.
Okay, I'll start in 5 seconds then. 1, 2, 3, 4, go then.
No.
It's a long time though, isn't it? What are we going to do while he's doing it?
Oh, my God.
Martin, tell us the best player you've ever played against in your whole career while he's doing that.
Best player I play against. When I get asked this one, I always go with Dennis Bergkamp, who was...
Oh, what a player he was.
Yeah,
he was a great player, but he also had an edge as well. So I remember playing a game down there with Blackburn, and I think he elbowed. I think it was Johansson was playing centre back with us, and I think he gave him an elbow off the ball, and they just had a scrap all game. And he mixed it up as well. So not only was he had the ability, he was up as well.
Mr. Sheen, keep your eye on that clock.
You have to move the ice around. I've done enough ice baths in my time. You have to keep moving around, else you don't feel it. You don't get the benefit.
Taylor. I'm after you.
Where there's no sense.
Martin, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You know, when you sign for Blues, obviously there's a lot around initiation songs. Did you have to do an initiation song? And if so, what was it?
Yeah, did you?
I'm always intrigued to know.
Yeah.
What was it?
Go on.
I did every time I did one. I always did Mr. Brightside because it's you don't have to
15
sing.
seconds, Nick. 15 seconds.
You literally just
15 seconds. I'm gonna die.
God.
We'll start timing it now.
That's a hate crime, Brownie. Count me down.
Okay, done. All done.
Hey,
He's done it.
he's done it. He's done it. Well done, Nick.
Anybody want to borrow this bucket?
I've got my own.
Should we get Sharon to do the same, I wonder?
Yeah, I
said,
think,
go on.
yeah.
She's run up with the ice. Look, she's gone. She's gone.
Sorry, Martin, we interrupted you there, mate. You were talking about initiation songs.
Yeah. Best one I heard was Andy Weimann when he signed at Watford, and he sang the Austrian national anthem in the most Schwarzenegger accent you could ever imagine. And it was brilliant. I mean, he did the full thing, and everyone's just on the floor. It was absolutely magic.
Yeah. We better get on to your 1 to 11, hadn't we, as well?
Yeah. Very good. Yeah.
And also, as well, we've got to do the who.
Yep, I've got that all lined up for whenever you want to do
Yeah,
it.
didn't you say you were doing that 15 minutes in, Mr. Producer?
Sorry.
Say again, Nick.
Didn't you say on the online chat the other day he was going to do that 15 minutes in?
Yeah.
I'll do the you 15 minutes in. For, what are we? An hour and 7 minutes later. You've only got one job.
I know, yeah. I'm
I'm
ready.
just a bucket of ice.
I'm ready. do you want to go for it, Paul?
What should we do first? Should we do the 1 to 11 or the who?
I'm not fussy.
Do you want to 11, Paul?
Go
Go on then, Martin. Give us your 1 to 11, mate.
I'll have to remember them now. Goalkeeper Mike Taylor, fantastic keeper. Obviously, loads of games for Northern Ireland as well, but fantastic shot stopper. I mean, great saving for Birmingham, but a great guy as well. So Mike and Nets gone for right back, gone for Stephen Kelly. I think Mr. Consistent, which is massive for being a right back, but really quick up and down the line. And yeah, good going forward, but really consistent at the back as well. Left back, I've cheated a bit and I put Liam Ridgewell in left back. I know he's probably a centre back more so, but he did play left back a bit as well. Really
he played a lot. He played a lot of games at left back. To be fair, Ridgewell.
Later on he was at Birmingham as well, but he just had a knack, been in the right place at the right time. Yeah, again, probably not the quickest of players, but knew how to be a defender. Got goals and did a really good job for the team. So Ridge at left back, centre back gone for Jaidi. Love playing with Jaidi. Probably my favourite centre back partner at Blues. He was fantastic in the air. Always took pressure off you. The ball coming to the box, you knew he was just going to smash it a mile. But just really good player. Just really calm and great presence back there. Besides Radi, I've got Kenny Cunningham. Like I mentioned before, great. Love playing with Jaidi. Probably my favourite centre back partner at Blues. Have I gone? Am I right?
Heard you again there somewhere. Go on. No, you're still there.
I thought it wasn't. I started hearing myself. Back.
Yeah, haven't they? Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Strange.
So centre back with Ridey, I've gone for JD. I've gone for Kenny Cunningham, who was he was just great to be around. Even when I signed, I was 24, and I still learned a lot off him. I learned how to win a header without having to jump as well, which Kenny never ever did. He just won everything and never jumped. Yeah. But just great around I've actually gone for somebody else's captain, but probably should go for Kenny's captain because he was. I mean, he got the nickname of Arthur Scargill because he could just he was he got into everything and he could if the lads needed something off the gaffer, he knew who to go to get it. So he was I love Kenny.
Fabulous player, Kenny Cunningham. Loved watching him.
Yeah, no, he's great. Right midfield, Seb Larson. What a player. Came in from Arsenal. I mean, he just had a bit of everything. Pace, he could beat players, could put a great ball in, dead balls. I mean, probably underrated for... I mean, I know he played a lot for Sweden. He played World Cup quarterfinals, but still a bit underrated. I thought he was a fantastic talent. Left side, I've got for McSheffrey. I think, like I was mentioning the guys before, I think sometimes when you choose teams like this, it's difficult for who you leave out the team. I think when I was at Birmingham, I played with some really good players, but I think McSheffrey had a really, really good spell when the Esbrook got promoted. And for a good part of the season, he showed, I mean, some real class. He was very good player, and I think just put him in for that. I think great left foot, and he got some really important goals as well. In midfield, gone for Stephen Clements and Damien Johnson, so two of my mates in there. I think that work rate of Damien Johnson was incredible. I think he got I might be wrong, but he got player of the season one of the years in the Prem, and he really deserved it. He was head and shoulders above everyone else, and a lot of ability. But work rate huge. But Stephen Clemens gone for me captain. Just everyone loves Clemens. I'm looking forward to it too when he steps out from underneath Brucey, which I'm sure he will one day. And he's a manager himself, and I think he'll be really good. I think I'm hoping you'll see. Like he's one of them guys when you can see it. You can see you like Sir Jordan Henderson and stuff like that. They've got a real aura around them in the dressing room, and Clemens had that. But people just really looked up to him for what he said. But on the pitch, fantastic player as well.
Yeah.
Up front, gone for Heskey, and I've gone for Kevin Phillips. So just for real quality. I mean, Kev Phillips, just literally the best goal scorer I've seen.
Super.
Fantastic. Yeah. You could, in that 6 years you was with us, you could pick easily 3 teams that do really well in the Premier League.
Yeah, I did actually look through before, but when I got asked to do it, I did actually go through some. I had to look back. Obviously, all the names, but I had to go through the teams just to make sure I wasn't massively missing out anyone. And I was thinking, there's some really, like I was saying before, obviously for sale, you've got like Muzzy, is it midfield? You've got Stan Lazaridis. Do you know what I mean? Going back, there's some really
Robbie Savage.
Yeah, there's some really talented players in there. I think that I picked my team more so on the times probably when I was playing more so when we had influential times at the club, like when we got promoted. So maybe not the Premier League teams, but we had a really good time in the Championship sometimes. So so gone for a bit of a mix, but I think they would give any of the teams a match.
No, good side. Yeah, very good. And who would be captain? Sorry.
Gone for Clemens captain, but probably looking either him or Ken would be. Like I say, Clemens has just got that the respect of all the players. So
yeah. And the manager as well.
Steve Bruce. I mean,
Steve Bruce.
Steve Bruce. In Birmingham, I was quite settled and compared a lot of times in my career where kind of managers come and go. Brucey was there most time. Obviously, McLeish, I thought, did a really good job as well. I like both of them. I think Brucey is and still is. You see him at Newcastle now. He's just very, very good man management. He's just very good with it. You can see it's not easy. It's not easy to be manager that many games in the Premier League, and he's done it. And it's because he's got some really good attributes, and they come through. So
I've always said that. I've always said that we had the best of him though as a manager in his early 40s when he first came in.
Probably
that first 3 or 4 years. I remember we beat them up the road like 4 times on the trot, and I think we beat Stu's team as well. I remember 4-0 at home as well, and some great.
I think we slaughtered them, didn't we? Yeah, I think we slaughtered them.
Yeah. Okay, so
I've just got a second.
What we do now, Martin? What we do now?
Hang on, Paul. Just 1 second.
Hang on, Paul.
I've got to put in quickly while I remember this, mate. I've got to now nominate somebody to do the 92-second ice bucket challenge, right? It's got to be pure ice, no water. We don't mess about. That was pure ice, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay. I'm nominating every single person on Zoom tonight to do the 92-second ice bucket challenge, and I want the videos uploaded to the Tilt and Talk page before next Monday. Okay.
Ooh, I'll give it a go.
You, Taylor, who tried to diss me earlier, right? You got to
I'm not moving my feet around in it.
But most importantly, we've got to donate a £5 to Auntie Linda. You can pass it on to Chris or whoever within the show, and let's start raising this money. And Stuart and Colin, over to you two gentlemen. Once you've done it and posted it, I want you to then nominate the whole of West Midlands Police.
Yeah, there's only a couple of them, isn't there?
Brilliant. I'll start by nominating the rest of the football office, and we'll take it from there.
There's your challenge, Colin, right? I've known you now, 5-6 years or so. There's your challenge, mate. I tell you have to personally nominate everybody in West Midlands Police to do the 92-second challenge in pure ice, and it's a £5 for Linda's course. Now, come on, let's raise her some money. This woman does so much for everybody else, right? All the time. She does so much for everybody else, and I know it's incredibly sad that her brother-in-law passed away with this horrible disease. So let's give her something back. Let's give Auntie Linda something back tonight. The whole of West Midlands Police. Is it challenge on, Colin, or not?
Yeah, I think I'm not sure if you realise the former.
Sorry, I'm sure the first word you said was yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
However, I don't know if you're aware, the former ACC Chris Johnson, who's now left West Midlands Police, is the same as well. He's doing the ice bucket challenge, and he's passed it on to other senior sort of officers at West Midlands Police who are doing that at the moment.
Excellent.
Okay, brilliant.
Excellent,
wonderful. You know what? And Chris will back me up, and the team, and every single listener. Linda does so much for everybody else all of the time. She works with Excessive Blues. She raises money for PTSD. She's had her head shaved. You know what? She's brilliant. But let's give some back.
Yeah. And considering how old she is as well, Nick, isn't it?
Then don't forget Chris Brown.
Considering how old she is.
The robe. Yeah. You all have to nominate somebody else. Okay. And that's how.
Start a trend, Martin, of ex-Blues players. You get ex-Blues players to do it for us, Martin. Start a trend.
Martin, your challenge is to get as many ex-Blues players to do the 92-second ice bucket challenge as you possibly can.
No, I'm on it.
It's a 92 seconds, Nick. I counted to 95 seconds. I thought it was, you said 95.
No wonder my feet were hurting.
Paul. Who?
Anyway.
Who?
Yeah, so what we're going to do now, Martin, we're going to play a little clip for 15 seconds
of
a player that you've played with for us speaking.
Yeah.
If you think you know who it is, just tell us the first letter of his surname.
First letter of his surname.
And then we'll see if our viewers can get it.
So, here we go then. So, ready? Here we go.
I need to be playing. I can't really wait anymore. And basically to my agent and Lee Fowler that I know from Nonita, I came in contact with Darlington, and
you haven't got a clue, have you?
I haven't.
Once more.
Here we go.
I need to be playing. I can't really wait anymore. And basically to my agent and Lee Fowler that I know from Nonita, I came in contact with Darlington, and
Go on, guess.
Go on.
Have you guessed it?
Do you know who it is, Paul?
I ain't got
Mark.
it.
Mark?
I know it is, yeah.
Oh, right, okay. Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give a clue. He was a central midfielder, and he had a short spell with us.
And he wasn't savage.
No.
He was angry, but he wasn't savage.
I can tell that by his accent. No,
It's the Darlington bit that's getting me.
Say again?
It's the Darlington bit that's getting me.
Okay, so people, here we go. Roddy Jardy says Mike, Bruno Ngotti. A lot of people.
Nope.
Tebley.
No.
Gabardini.
No.
Nafty.
No.
Cisse.
No.
Oh, a lot of people.
No, it's not Joy Edie, no.
Salif J.O. Nafty. No.
Think midfield.
Midfielder.
Central midfielder.
Dwight York. No. Mullins. No. This is going to get.
You've not got it, Martin. Not at all.
No idea.
Well, thanks for picking an easy one this week, Paul. Well done.
Well,
I could put Manchester City 1.
I say it every week. I can make it easy.
Yeah.
No. This is
We've got York. We've got Mullins. No to either of them.
Yeah. Mwamba. Fabrice Mwamba. Nope. Diop. R.I.P. Nope. No, I don't think anyone's going to get it just yet, Paul. Should we move on?
Well, we're into the last 15 minutes. There's only 10 to go, so we're going to have a little bit of a laugh right at the end here. And I was going to do this one last week, but it's anything to do with anything you'll find in a zoo and anything to do with football. Anything you'll find in a zoo, Paul Hipkins has just left,
yes.
to do with football. Anything you'll find in a zoo and anything to do with football.
Right, zoo and football. Nobody seems to be able to get this one, so I think it's going to run for a bit.
Okay, let it run.
Can I just ask Martin something? Martin, what sort of memorabilia did you keep from your days at Blues? You kept any shirts or anything?
Yeah, I've got all my blue shirts. I try to keep like one from every season, so I've got them up in the loft somewhere. I'm trying to think. I've got a few programs, and I've got. I think I've got the program from when we went up at Reading, so that's a good one. But yeah, no, not loads of stuff. I don't keep an awful lot of stuff. I got a couple of man of the match bottles of champagne, which managed to sit on the bench for about 5 years. So does that count for memorabilia? I don't know.
It wouldn't last 5 years.
I was going to say,
not in Nick's house, it wouldn't.
People say that.
Excuse me. I'm drinking Coca-Cola. Huh?
It says here you scored 2 goals in 99 games for us. Can you remember both of them? I remember one against Reading.
Yeah, I scored against. It was a good one against Reading. I don't only get 2.
according to this, unless you can tell us, unless Wikipedia's wrong.
I scored. I think I got a couple of taken offers off the dubious goals panel, which I wasn't happy with. I scored one at Leeds where I think I hit the post and hit the keeper in the back of the head and it went in.
I remember that. Yeah,
we took it off us, and on the same day, Rooney did the same thing and give it to him. And I remember I wasn't happy about that.
Wayne Kangaroony. There you go. Started you off. Wayne Kangaroony.
Okay, here we go then. Gary Monk, Lionel Messi,
That one.
Quadru, Viv Solomon Ottomar, Jeff Horsfield, Zinedine Zidane.
We don't know if they're doing the last 15 now. We're trying to guess who that player was.
Capo. Giraffa.
I like the Giraffe Horsfield.
Yeah, Giraffa Benitez. I got a ticket. Tiger Woods.
I think Tiger Woods is golf, Mike.
Yeah, I think he's.
I'll have to get a ticket.
Yeah. Capo. Quincy Awoisi.
Zinedine Zidane.
Zidane, yeah.
Oh dear.
So nobody's got the who. Shall I give it another go?
Yeah, I think you better add.
Here we go.
One more.
I need to be playing. I can't really wait anymore. And basically to my agent and Lee Fowler that I know from Nonita came in contact with Darlington and
You're racking that brain, aren't you, Martin?
Hey, I'm just thinking it's a Darlington thing. It's just I'm thinking who would have gone to Darlington back then? I've got a clue.
Give you another clue. Never played for Darlington.
Never did.
No.
We've got Bruno and Goatee just coming in.
Yeah.
Goatee.
Zola Bears from Linda Magna, Chris Rowe, Bruno and Goatee. Oh God, you lot are mad. You're mad. Oh dear. Alberto.
I think
Do you want me to say who it is?
you better. I don't think it.
I think Martin's hurting now. He's in pain. He wants to know.
Go on then, Paul.
Okay, it was Kemi Augustin.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Everybody's going.
Kemi.
Who was it?
Kemi Augustin.
Yeah, can you look at a bit harder again next week for me, please?
Paul's going.
We've got Eden Lizard.
Did you hear? Sorry, Martin. My
Yeah.
Wi-Fi frozen. Did you hear that, Martin? Yeah.
Yeah.
We better go to predictions, haven't we, Nick?
Well, yeah, last game of the season coming up, and off you go, Mark.
Nothing to lose. Just go for it. I've got a funny feeling it'll be a draw. 2-2. 2-1.
I'm so sorry, Mark. The winner's just come in. Mr. Tim Grouch from Faraday, who we had on the show last week. Jack Grealish, cheater. That, sir, is quality. Off you go, Mark. Sorry, bud.
Sorry, I was going to say I think it'll be another draw. 2-2.
2-2. Okay. Paul.
2-1 Blues. I think we'll go back to full strength.
Yeah, I think we'll go to full strength. I think Leo probably want to finish the season off on a high. I don't blame him for experimenting with the youngsters. All right, I had no issue with the score. Obviously, like to win a game, but like we're safe. Don't care. He's got a job to do now. The summer is looming. We've got a job to do because we've only got 2 more shows to go now before the end of the talk show. We've gone all the way through the COVID era. Hopefully, we've seen the back end of it. And we can get ourselves back in the studio soon. Trevor Smith 2-3, Paul McCarthy 2-0, and Linda Magna is still waiting for a 6-0, especially for Linda Ensor. 1-1 from Nigel Mann, and 1 from Nigel Mann. For me, I don't know. I'm going to go 2-0. West Midlands Police.
I think full strength team. Blues win 2-1. If he plays the team from Saturday, I think they'll lose.
Take your Albion hat off now, Stuart. Take your Albion hat off, mate. You know what I mean?
I'm going to go. I think Bo's done a great job since he's come in, so I'm going to go 2-0 Blues.
Hasn't he just? Wow, what an appointment I made. Huh? I'll be sure some other time. Chris Brown.
It's all going to be depending on what team he puts out. Full strength, I'll go for a 2-1. If not,
2-1.
If not 3-0.
Martin Taylor.
Yeah, I think Blues win. I think 2-1 sounds good. I think it's a big one winning your last game before the break, especially kind of when there's not been loads to play for because you're rolling into the next season. It makes such a difference.
You go out on that high, don't you?
Yeah, going off on a high, it really, really does as well. You're kind of going in the change room at the end and everyone's looking around going, who've we got here next year? Oh, we're going to have a chance. And I think what Boy has shown since he's came in, is he can really motivate them. They've got some good players in there, and there's not massive margins in the Championship. The team's coming down. You're going to look at, I don't know about Sheffield United, but you're going to look at West Brom and Fulham possibly going to be the strongest. After that, I mean, there's real fine margins in the Champ. So
as long as we do. Mark Greaves gone 2-1 Blues. Maddie Irving 1-2 Blues. Anthony Bailey 3-1 loss. Linda Magnan 2-1 Blues. Steve Portman 0-6. Linda Ensor is up there negotiating now. And the reason we say 0-6, and we've said it all season, if Birmingham City score 6 goals, Chris Brown has to do a show in the nude.
Yeah, from the waist up.
Sorry, West Midlands Police.
Craig's just said, don't forget to mention Player of the Season.
Yes, we're going to launch that. We're going to launch that tomorrow. Our Tilton Talk Player of the Season. Craig will give everybody the details on how to vote tomorrow.
Right, come out with a good one, Frank de Boer.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned Martin earlier as well, or asked, what do you think of the defenders we've got nowadays?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think I watched them. I've seen Birmingham play at Watford. What was that, 3-4 weeks ago? Mm-hmm. And I thought I know Harley Dean really well. I had a loan stint at Brentford when I was at Sheffield. When Dean was there, and I really liked him. He was played centre back with him. He was probably only 21, maybe then. I'm not sure, but he was above his years. He was a real good defender. You could tell he'd come through I think came through with Southampton. You could tell he was good on the ball as well. So I really like Harley Dean. I think Roberts has done great as well. I think he's come on. I think when he first signed, I didn't watch him that much, but he's really, really progressed since then. So I think, like you say, when I watched him at Watford, I don't know if anyone else seen much of that game, but Blues were the better team and ended up losing 3-0. And everyone comes away and says, comfortable win for Watford. Blues were good.
Yeah.
Mind you,
but I
was going to say, Martin, going back, you're on about fine margins. I mean, no disrespect to Barnsley, but if Barnsley can get, push for a top 6, why can't we?
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not all it is. It's easy to say. Good manager. You've got Boyers. Looks like a good manager. He looks like he's going to do something. He's going to get the best out of his players. That's the main thing. The loan market, everyone knows it. You kind of go in, you get 2 or 3 good loan deals in the Championship. You've got a chance, and I would imagine Boyle have the contacts to do that. So, and who knows? You start on level foot, and there's some teams have got a way bigger budget next year, but not many. So I think that got a chance, like anyone else at the start of the season. Like you say, everyone looks at Barnes and goes, they can do it, we can.
Yeah. Well, this has been fantastic and shrugtastic tonight. Shrugtastic and funtastic. Absolutely superb. Last words from our friends at West Midlands Police. Should the Tilton and the Cop not be open next season, how are you going to manage that?
It's very hard to know, isn't it, at the moment? It's the same as going back to the social distancing thing, isn't it? Clearly, if the Cop and the Tilton aren't open, you're looking at 50% capacity, which is main stand, and the Gilmerick, what's that? Probably about 15,000, give or take, depending on the allocation from an away team, what's decided there. It will obviously be completely different, won't it? You're policing half the game, you're stewing in half the ground, should I say. We'll just have to wait and see, really.
So if the club came up and said, look, you know what, we're going to open all of the top of the GM upper for home supporters, would you be completely happy with that?
We've done it in the past, haven't we? Do you remember the Premiership years? We've spoken about it before, haven't we? The whole of the Upper Gilmerick was open throughout the Premiership years without any issue whatsoever.
Well, listen to that, ladies and gentlemen. The whole of the Gilmerick Upper was open all Premier season. Not one issue. Not one issue. Let's keep it like that. Let's keep it straight. Let's keep it real. Let's be kind to each other. Be nice to each other. Who cares what the colour of your skin is, what your gender is, what this, something? Nobody cares, or nobody should care. Right? If you're going to go on your keyboard, write something nice to somebody. Be nice to them. Write something positive. Criticise them, but criticise them in a positive manner. Don't call them out. Don't call them names. Right? If XYZ does a 40-foot yarder and it goes into the top of the stands, then tell him about it. Right? You don't have to use derogatory words to players, to you guys at West Midlands Police, to each other. We are Birmingham City. We're one family. Let's all join hands and be that family together. Tonight has been absolutely entertaining, gents. Thank you, Stuart, and thank you, Colin. Can't wait to see you next time. You're a good bloke, mate, honestly. And you said the V word as well. Ladies and gents, Stuart Ward and Colin. Good night, guys.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thanks ever so much for joining us, giving your time up, gentlemen. It's been an absolute pleasure. We will do it again, probably early part of next season at some junction, yeah, and just see how things are going, and if there's anything we can do as a forum. We will always help you out, no matter what, because all we want is a peaceful, lovely, noisy day at St Andrews. That's all we ever ask for. Guys, God bless, take care. Thanks ever so much.
Cheers, thank you.
Mark Adams, ladies and gentlemen, aka Mr. Rogue.
Take care, everyone. Have a great week. Stay safe.
Paul Hipkiss, aka Mr. Sheen.
Thank you, everyone. Good night, all.
And from the old mate, can't wait to see you again soon, Chris Brown.
Good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Tilton Talk Show, sponsored by Boyle Sports, principal sponsor of Birmingham City Football Club, in conjunction with the Garrison Company, the Blues Trust, and our good friends of Boys, and of course, the other one.
Yeah.
I've done the 92-second challenge, gents. Don't forget to do it. Don't forget, West Midlands Police guys, I want you to encourage as many people as you possibly can to get it done. It's £5. One of you decide who's going to collect the money in. Then just chat to Chris or to Craig Courtney, and we'll get the money over to Linda. As I say, she does so much for everybody else, and it's about time we did something back for her. I'm dedicating tonight's show to two gentlemen, one called Darren Roy, who's Dad's a good friend of ours in Newcastle, and you all know the other one is Lance Corporal Barry Buxton, who were both killed in Afghanistan 11 years ago yesterday. We went to the Arboretum, we got soaked, we got wet, we got froze, but we still went. Ladies and gentlemen, good night. God bless. Take care. And the last words from Martin Taylor.
Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Take it easy. Enjoy.
Thank you.